الآن.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our MISAD Bulletin. And we shall start with our headlines. Israeli military strikes anti-aircraft battery in Syria. Somalia truck bombing toll over 300 as funerals continue. And moving on to our details, we're starting with the Syrian profile. The Israeli military said it struck and destroyed an anti-aircraft battery deep in Syria on Monday after it had opened fire on Israeli jets flying over Lebanon. The military spokesman said Israeli planes were on a routine reconnaissance mission near the Lebanese-Syrian border when they came under fire. They were not hit and returned to base safely. He added that in response, Israel hit a Syrian anti-aircraft battery about 50 kilometers east of Damascus and incapacitated it. He also said Russian forces in Syria were notified in real time, adding that Israel holds Syria responsible for any attack from its territory. In relation to the context, the US-backed Kurdish-led force battling the Islamic State group in Syria will be in control of Raqqa within a few days after attacking the last militant-held pocket of the city. The spokesman of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, also said on Monday that fierce street battles were underway near the main hospital in Raqqa. This comes as the SDF fighters launched an operation to retake the last IS-held pocket of the city after some 275 militants and their family members surrendered over the weekend. The extremists still hold about 10% of Raqqa. Meanwhile, Syrian government forces and their allies began a major offensive on IS-held neighborhoods in the eastern city of Deir ez-Zor, according to state TV and the opposition Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The observatory said government forces are pushing through two neighborhoods under the cover of airstrikes by Russian warplanes. The move by government forces came just 2 days after Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's troops captured the IS stronghold of Mayadin south of Deir ez-Zor in another blow to the extremists in eastern Syria. In Iraq, Iraqi Kurdish officials said early Monday that federal forces and state-backed militias have launched a major multi-pronged attack aimed at retaking Kirkuk. The Kurdistan Region Security Council said that the Kurdish forces, known as the Peshmerga, destroyed at least 5 US-supplied Humvees being used by Iraq's state-sanctioned militias following the unprovoked attack south of the city. It also said fighting with Kurdish forces caused lots of casualties without providing a specific figure. On the other hand, Iraq's Interior Ministry said that federal forces have taken control of a power plant, a police station, and industrial areas near Kirkuk. On to Cairo, in a brazen daytime attack, about a dozen Islamic militants robbed a local bank, lobbed grenades, and traded gunfire with security forces guarding an unused church in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula on Monday, killing 7 people, including 3 civilians. Security and military officials said the militants drove into the city center of Al Arish in the morning, then split into 2 groups. One group fired rocket-propelled grenades and traded gunfire with the guards outside the Church of St. George. Officials also said the attack left 3 civilians, including a child, 3 guards and 1 soldier dead, and wounded another 15 people, including women and children. And going to Africa, the death toll from a truck bombing in Somalia's capital has risen above 300. According to health officials on Monday, more people died of their wounds in the past few hours. Moreover, funerals have begun, and the government said the death toll is expected to rise in what has become one of the world's worst attacks in years. Officials also said more than 70 critically injured people were airlifted to Turkey for treatment on Monday as international aid began to arrive. Saturday's truck bombing targeted a crowded street in Mogadishu, and about 300 others were injured, many with horrific burns. On the other side of the world, Spain's Deputy Prime Minister says that Catalonia's leader didn't give an adequate response in his letter about the region's independence and has until Thursday to comply with the country's laws. Carles Puigdemont's letter didn't clarify whether he in fact declared Catalonia's independence from Spain. He called for talks with Spain's government. On the other hand, Spain's central government wanted a simple yes or no answer from Puigdemont, something that the Spanish Deputy Prime Minister said that he didn't provide. She also said that Puigdemont's call for dialogue is not credible and that Spain's national parliament is the place to talk. On to natural crises, wildfires in Portugal killed at least 27 people, injured dozens more, and left others missing, while in Spain, 4 deaths were reported. Civil Protection Agency spokeswoman said on Monday that fatalities in Portugal occurred in densely forested parts of central and northern part of the country after blazes broke out in exceptional weather circumstances. She added that the situation was still critical. Moreover, 51 people have been injured, including 15 in serious condition, while an unknown number of people were still missing. Across the border in Spain, some 105 fires were reported in the northwestern Galicia region, leaving 4 people killed while thousands evacuated. Meanwhile, Irish authorities ordered all schools in the country to close on Monday as a storm with hurricane-force winds bore down on Ireland and the United Kingdom. Ophelia was classified as a post-tropical cyclone late Sunday but was moving north with sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. Ireland's Met Ireland Weather Service warned of violent and destructive gusts of up to 50 miles per hour, along with heavy rain and storm surges as the storm crossed the country. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said the storm could bring 2 to 3 inches of rain in Western Ireland and Scotland, with coastal flooding and large and destructive waves where it makes landfall. And moving on to our economic news, UK Prime Minister Theresa May has a dinner meeting in Brussels with senior European Union officials on Monday. May's unexpected meeting with the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and Chief Negotiator Michel Barnier follows Barnier's warning last week that the latest round of talks ended in disturbing deadlock over Britain's financial obligations to the bloc. On another front, British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson on Monday at a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Luxembourg urged the EU to speed up talks and start a discussion of the future relationship with the UK, which is set to leave the bloc in March 2019. And finally, global stock markets rose on Monday after leaders of global finance appealed at a weekend meeting of the International Monetary Fund for a continuation of low interest rate policies to keep economic recoveries on track. Germany's DAX rose 0.2% to 13,016, and the FTSE 100 was up 0.2% to 7,552. The CAC 40 of France added 0.2% to 5,363. Dow and S&P 500 futures were both up 0.1%. Moreover, Japan's Nikkei 225 index added 0.5% to 21,255.56, and the Shanghai Composite Index slipped 0.4% to 378.47. And before ending our news, let's take another look at the most important headlines for today. Israeli military strikes anti-aircraft battery in Syria. Somalia truck bombing toll over 300 as funerals continue. And this was all what we have for today in our MISAD bulletin. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow in a new bulletin.